I'd like to open the meeting of the council meeting of the 28th of October, 2025. Just the acknowledgement of country. We'd like to acknowledge the Ngadjuri and Kaurna peoples, the traditional custodians of the lands and waters of the Light Regional Council area. We pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging, and extend that respect to other Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders who are present today. Attendance. We have one apology, being Councillor Michael, who's busy moving house today. Leave of absence. Non-attendance, confirmation of minutes of the council minutes of the ordinary meeting Tuesday the 23rd of September 2025. There's a recommendation there that the minutes are confirmed as true and correct record. Would someone like to move that way? Councillor Fabio, Councillor Nett, seconded. All in favour? Carried. Thank you. Communications. I've supplied a list of my activities for the last month. They should be noted in the minutes. We've also had a notification from the Northern York Council that I sent through the proposed change in speed limits. You may have all seen that. I've just asked, firstly I should welcome our acting, sorry about this, Mark, our acting CEO for his first council meeting. So we're all pleased to see you, Mark, and you've had an enjoyable month, I think, already, and got to know everyone.
It's been a great month. Thank you very much.
You're lucky you said that, wasn't it? So Mark, would you like to comment on that motion,
yes.
that information we had?
Very briefly, the Northern York Local Government Association, my apologies, provided some information about there's a fancy title to this one, regulatory impact analysis to reduce the open road default speed limit. In other words, it's an inquiry about whether some of our roads which are not speed limited, where the speed limit now is a default 100, should be reduced. And there was a suggestion that some of those roads be defaulted down to 70 or 80 kilometres an hour. So you can imagine what the response has been from the region of councils, that they are very much against this for obvious reasons. That reminds me of some time ago when the speed limits on our roads here were reduced from 110 to 100 in many cases. So I think many of the same discussion points have been raised, and the Northern York have put in a formal submission into that inquiry. So that's where that one sits on behalf of the 15 councils. Northern York, I can't remember how many now, might be 15.
Thanks, Mark, because I have been asked whether we've made a response. So we have made a response through the Northern York Council Group. Just one of my communications, I attended a community meeting on Sunday in Buckfelder, and Councillor Tony Piccolo MP is promoting a community rezoning application for the area, to rezone it into 3 different areas. And he sent out 200 letters and got 50 people turned up, which is pretty good, really, for a short notice. And they were all, well, there might have been 2 out of the 40 that weren't supportive of seeking this reclassification, rezoning of that area into 3 different areas. One just an equestrian area, including harness racing, but just general equestrian events and so forth. One industrial and one a rural living area. And he's confident that he can get state government funding to do the application, but he looked at me in the eye and said, and council will do the management for it. So I don't think we do the management for unless it's financially viable for us to do the management, because it would take another fair bit of staff time to do it. So, but just letting you know that it's now in the public arena. You'll see this rezoning being talked about and publicised, and that we're being asked to to look at managing the zoning we're not actually paying for it, but being the body that supervises it. So we'll see what happens as that progresses. Lisa would love to do that, wouldn't you, Lisa? Okay, any elected members' communications? Councillor Peter.
On the 13th of the month, I attended the second Freeling RSL meeting at the Institute at Freeling, and they have formed the management committee, and the meeting went from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m, so they were busy, and a couple of things were mentioned. One was the basement of Freeling Institute, which was water damaged. Well, it's been dried out for a year, and the next step is to refurbish it. And also another thing that was mentioned was soundproofing in the supper room, which is a big hall. And nothing was mentioned of the upstairs part. Anyway, it was a good meeting, and it was the second meeting that they had there, and the future looks bright.
Excellent, that's good. Councillor Collin or Councillor Simon, would you like to mention the Seppelsfield Road meeting?
Yeah, so there was a Seppelsfield Business Alliance meeting, and they had their general annual meeting or something like that, but we were just there to, or actually mainly Mayor Bill was there to inform them about the palms that were threatened by the power lines, and I think Bill spoke very well and explained them where we're at and what we're going to do. So I think, do you want me to explain? I think you could explain that much better than me. Well, you just
might say how they're prepared to support us. I think that was,
that's basically, yeah. So they're happy to support us, but I think that was part of that motion that we had. So at this point, we're still going to wait if we really need to form that committee or that group, but they're very happy to support us.
Excellent. That's cool.
I'd just like to add, I saw in the Leader the following week, they did have an article in there. So it just shows how good they are advocating their cause. So, yeah, they're going to be good to have on board.
Yeah. Councillor Allison.
Can I maybe we'll just go back to where you're talking about the rezoning, and it's just come to thought. I've had a few people in Gawler Belt say to me with boundary reform, how do we not have Gawler in our name anymore? And I said, well, I'm not really sure, but I'll bring it along to council. So I'm going to ask that question now, since we were just talking about that rather than a question without notice later on. Because they're feeling that if we're not part of Gawler Council, we need to get rid of the Gawler name.
Yeah.
So I don't know where you go with that, but if you want me to do with that question without notice later on, happy to do it. But I just thought, because you were talking about that,
Lisa,
I haven't answered it.
probably not.
It must be possible. Yeah. Other one, Lisa, other one.
Through the chair, that's actually an actual process that has to be undertaken with the to go through a process. You actually need to ask permission through an actual boundaries commission. So that isn't just something that the council can make off the top of their head. It is actually a process. You'd have to instigate it. You may have to undertake surveys and actually consult with your community before you can even engage in that. So if it's something that council want to actually entertain, we'd probably need to call for a report. We can tell you what that procedurally looks like and what, if there's any costs or what process would have to be undertaken. We can't just do it off our own back. It is actually a process.
All right. So is that something I could ask to happen? Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
You might prepare a motion on notice next meeting or something. Okay, thank you. There are nil petitions, nil deputations or presentations, nil adjourned business. Action items. If we run through as we normally do, page 5. Just while we're there, Mark, would you like to comment about the letter sent about Clare Road?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Mayor Bill. Following discussions with the mayor, we, and also with Colin as well, initially developed a letter to send to the new Minister of DIT. As you are aware, there was a bit of a ministerial reshuffle probably 2 months ago or thereabouts. And the previous minister, Koutsantonis, is now the treasurer. That left a vacancy for DIT, and the Honourable Emily Burke is now in that position with the enviable task of managing DIT, which is a pretty huge undertaking. If you're like me, I drive up and down South Road most days of the week to get here, and South Road itself is a fairly major project. So in terms of Clare Road, which has been, I know, on the agenda for some time, certainly predates my arrival here, we, under the mayor's signature, we welcome the new minister into her role, and also reminded her about previous discussions with the current government on their undertaking to expend money and support us with Clare Road rebuild, complete rebuild, including curb and water table, footpaths and so forth. So that letter was sent off late last week. Haven't had a response yet, but still very early days. But we hopefully will have continuous dialogue with the minister and make sure that that's not forgotten in the next 6 months in particular.
Thanks, Mark. Okay, page 5. Page 6. Councillor Cole?
Just, Craig is away for an extended period, to understand. So are we still following up on this car parking scheme in his absence?
Lisa, please.
Yes, we're progressing with that hopefully towards December, January. There's no work that's happened just immediately. Yes, but that is still on the agenda.
Did I say page 7 before? Page 8. Councillor Peter?
Regarding the Angle Vale Bridge, what is current news on that in the light of City of Playfield?
Vin?
Through the chair, we have had discussions with City of Playford. They're not going to rebuild the bridge, but they are looking at putting up like a monument, which would have the design of the old bridge with some historical information. That's the last we've heard from them.
You.
Page 9. Councillor Peter?
There's a motion here for an LED screen and associated audio system at the FARM Centre in Freeling.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the notes say that about the Freeling Community Recreation Park Management Committee to execute. I don't think that that's appropriate. It should be the farm committee.
Freeling Farm Community, Freeling Farm Recreation Park. So what's what you're saying? The title
Yes.
wrong? Okay, so it's a grammatical change to that notification. Corey or Caitlin, can you adjust that? All right, that please, Peter. Councillor, that's it. Thank you. Page 9. Page 10. Great to see the silo art, which will be discussed later on, but see it's completed, so fabulous. Recommendations from committees, there are nil. Infrastructure and Sustainability Reports, Quarterly Capital Renewal Program. Fabulous report from Brenton. Are there any questions on that report? Councillor Fabio?
Not so much a question, but more a comment. I've already made this comment to Jason, but I'd like to make it publicly. Just the fact that certainly in the last month and a bit, I certainly haven't been fielding as many calls as I was previously in regards to condition of roads or anything like that. So that's probably some positive feedback for the team. It seems like we've caught up. Good planning, bit of good luck. Maybe the weather, I don't know, has been complimentary, but it's certainly time to acknowledge a job well done, I think.
Yes, I'd certainly agree with that too, Councillor Fabio. Any further questions on the capital report, capital renewal program? Councillor Simon?
Thanks, Bill. It's more like a comment as well, and I made that comment to our CEO as well. Just about Towards Road, there's a $300,000 resheeting scheduled for this financial year for Towards Road, not just. I've brought this up many times before. I find it interesting that we have to pay for that while literally other people have trashed it. So I just wonder. I know I've talked to many of you, but I just want to again say this publicly. I think we need to find out how we can get some reimbursement from the people that actually trashed the road, and not the council has to foot the whole bill.
Thank you. Jason, would you like to comment about when that resheeting would be done? Is it, given that they keep digging it up all the time, when do we do it? When is the right time to do it? It seems crazy to do it and then get it back up again.
Yeah, through the chair, as some of your councillors will be aware, there's been some changes with SA Water's works over the last probably few weeks. We probably thought they were going to be doing some more works till the end of the year. The road has reopened just recently, so we're probably looking to bring some of those works forward just to get some works done to try to alleviate the water going across the road, which is causing our maintenance crews to continually go back there, which could occur in the next sort of couple of weeks. So it won't be the full amount, but it will be some money spent on that out of that capital money to try to improve the condition of the road for our road users. So we're also in talks with SA Water on contributions towards those works, but I think it's probably important that we get the road right for our road users at this stage. So.
Thanks, Jason. Councillor Ellison?
Even press the buzzy. Mayor Bill, thank you. Just further to that, I've been corresponding with Mark in relation to that, and thanks very much for meeting me out there last week. I appreciated you coming out and having a look at College Road and Towards Road and the mess that, well, especially Towards Road's in, and then getting some signs. So thanks to David and his team as well for actioning that pretty quick. So hopefully we're onto that. But yeah, SA Water hadn't told council that they were reopening the road, and yeah, communication breakdown's not good with SA Water to us. But yeah, thank you to both of you for actioning those things.
Thanks, Councillor Olsen. Yeah, there seems to be a message information gap with SA Water, doesn't it? They seem to be a little bit hesitant. Okay. But where is it? Oh, infrastructure and environment monthly update. Another good report, Jason. Anything you'd like to comment on that, Jason? Any questions? It's good to see that all those roads, and as Councillor Fabio said, it's been a really good time to get it done and settle down. There's a recommendation there that the council receives the infrastructure and sustainability reports and the contents therein be noted. Would someone like to move that way? Councillor Peter, seconded by Councillor Dean. All in favour? Carried. Thank you. Strategy and economic reports. SED report October 2025. It's another good report from Sky and Gemma about what they've been up to. Of course, the Kapunda silo art now is finished. Quite an amazing piece of work of art, really. It is a work of art. It's fabulous. So I'm sure it's going to be acclaimed for a long time. We're going to have to install big parking areas there, aren't we? The amount of traffic it's got there. There's the National Small Town Reinvention Conference was a huge success. It's amazing they can get that sort of detailed information about finances, isn't it? But $286,000 for our investment of $10,000 seems to be a worthwhile investment. The point being made that those sort of functions that carry over 3 or 4 days within an area rather than a weekend really put a lot more money into the area than when people stay in that area. So it's a point that the staff are noting that they're going to promote conferences and things that take a longer period of residency in the area. Any questions on that report? There's a recommendation there that the council receives the strategy and economic development report and the contents therein be noted. Would someone like to move that way? Councillor Collins, Councillor Dean, all in favour? Carried. Thank you. Roseworthy Township expansion, section 138 clearances. This is a pretty standard update. Lisa, do you want to make any comments or no? Any questions? Just that things are progressing. Lisa tells me, as I found out eventually, that the areas in red are the changes, aren't they, in the report? So that if you're slow like me, that made it a lot easier. Event sponsorship program, major events, National Small Town Reinvention Conferences, again, is a detailed report of what occurred at the conference. It was a very well supported and enthusiastic conference. What have we got here? CEO monthly report. We've kept Mark busy in his first month. Any questions to Mark on his activities? Well, good. There's a recommendation on the bottom of page 47 that the reports for information be received and the contents therein noted by council. Councillor Fabio, Councillor Allison, all in favour? Carried. Thank you. Reports for decision. Gawler Floodplain Management Authority annual report. Some of these reports are there's 2 reports that are required to go into our council annual report. So once these are passed, they can then be submitted to our council annual report. So this is just the Gawler Flood Management Authority report. There's a recommendation there. It's all pretty straightforward. Someone like to move that recommendation? Councillor Allison, seconded. Councillor Simon, all in. Councillor Collins, got a question?
Yeah, I was just reading in their report that the Eastick Dam, they don't even know whether it's structurally sound enough to go 10% higher. I found that a bit, after we've done all that, put all this money into doing a business case to heighten it by that much. They don't even know whether the thing's structurally sound.
Oh, well, I'm pretty certain, from my understanding, it's not structurally sound to go that high. It's got to be made bigger to go 10 metres high. It's got to be made more solid. So that's why it's an extra $200 million to do it, because it's got to be made substantially bigger to do it. So as it is now, it's quite functional. There's nothing wrong with it. But if you want to go 10 metres, it's got to be massively rebuilt. Any further questions? I'll put that motion. All in favour? Carried. Thank you. Northern York Local Government Association annual report. This is again, it's another, as I said before, it goes into our council yearly report. Just one comment, that the local government, Northern York local government's got a reasonably new EO, executive officer, Bridget Ransom. She seems to be doing a really good job and putting things a lot up to, giving us a lot more information than we got previously, I think. So she seems to be doing a good job. There's a recommendation there. Would someone like to move that recommendation? Lynette, Councillor Lynette, seconded. Councillor Collin, all in favour? Carried. Thank you. Policy review, road and public places naming policy. I think this is just about updating our basic policy. Is there any questions on that? There are no questions. Would someone like to move the recommendation on page 52? Councillor Dean, seconded. Councillor Peter, all in favour? Carried. Thank you. Policy review, management of community and recreation facilities policy. Again, I think it's just another update of the policy structure. Any questions? There are no questions. Would someone like to move the recommendation on page 53? 5, sorry. Councillor Fabio, seconded. Councillor Peter, all in favour? Carried. Thank you. (13.5) Proposed street names by Villawood relating to the Roseworthy Township expansion and land division development applications. Just to note, there was a typing error and 2 names were left out of the big list. Those names being Woodley, Lexington, and Fairfax. Isn't Lexington an American battle or something, isn't it? Battle. Captain Kentucky, but there was a Civil War battle there, wasn't there?
Yeah, Bill, can I just ask a question?
Sorry, Councillor.
That's right. How do they come up with the names? Where I know it's got my name on there, but it's not. My name is, but
I know we do have a list of names, but I think this is. I'm not sure how this comes. Elise would like to comment.
They've essentially just taken English garden names. That's the theme they started with a couple of years ago, and they're continuing.
Is Lexington an English garden, is it? Yeah, isn't it some a grammar to Lexington to sort of some? Yeah. Righto. Now, apart from the fact that Close isn't on that list, I'm. Yes. There's a recommendation there. Would someone like to move that? Is everyone happy with those names? They want to make any changes? No, if that's all right. There's a recommendation there. Would someone like to move that recommendation? Councillor Ellison, seconded Councillor Dean. All in favour? Carried. Thank you. Right, 13.6 rescission of land management agreement, Kidman Rise Estate in Kapunda. Now, I'm sure Councillor Dean and Councillor Peter and Councillor are very upset to see this. We worked very hard to get this land management agreement put through many years ago. We spent weeks and months on it. It kept coming back, and now they're going to chuck it out the window. I'm really disappointed. Lisa, would you like to comment on this, please?
In short, the land management agreement was written at a time when the development plan of the day had very, very short policy that didn't cover off on a lot of the management of the land. So the developer at the time wanted additional controls, and council was happy to go along with those recommendations, things like shed colours, cut and fill, just very sort of menial type matters. The Planning and Design Code, fast forward to 2021, and a lot of those matters now are so different to when they were adopted back in the day. So there are inconsistencies. So when applications are now being received, there are inconsistencies. So rather than take the time of the chamber and also of the applicant to keep getting those matters waived because they're inconsequential, removing the land management agreement allows us to just assess the applications against the planning policy of the day, the Planning and Design Code. So it's been extended to the developer. They initiated the request, and we've also extended it to the 61 landowners, and we've had about 5 people shown an interest at the moment. So the recommendation is to allow the land management agreement to be rescinded. It does not have any bearing on the responsibilities of the developer. They will still need to undertake all the development in accordance with the plans, as well as the upgrades and other necessary infrastructure requirements.
So Lisa, you said you had 5 of the existing allotments have acknowledged it. If they don't acknowledge it, what happens then?
The way we've written the recommendation, that if someone was to come in a month's time, a year's time, or 10 years' time, this recommendation remains open so that we don't have to bring it back to council. We can actually allow the rescission over their land at any time. It's an open recommendation. It's not limited to a time frame.
Any questions? Councillor Collins?
Some of those blocks up there, are they not going to build on them because of the topography, or is that not? Were they sort of developers going to do them earlier, and now they haven't put some further up the hill because of the it's harder to build than what it originally was?
The developer's just doing it by stages, Councillor Ross. So at this point in time, when they actually undertake the relevant infrastructure, they'll get the clearance for that stage. They just haven't progressed. There's one currently underway at the moment for an additional 20 or 30 allotments, and they're working through that at the moment. So they're just doing it periodically.
No further questions? There's a recommendation. I'm not going to read that one, it's quite lengthy. Page 65. Someone prepared, Councillor Fabio, Councillor Dean, all in favour? That's carried, thank you. We now go to the supplementary agenda. Item 13.7, I think it is. The wrong spot. Draft Light Regional Council Disability Access and Inclusion Plan. Lorinda has graced us with her presence. Would you like to make comment, Lorinda? No? Are there any questions to this disability plan? Lorinda's done a great job presenting. It's a huge amount of work she's done. And we probably don't appreciate the amount of stuff she's had to do this. But are there any questions, Lorinda? Councillors? Councillor Collins.
I was saying one thing I did notice in that survey that the footpaths are one of the biggest concerns for disabled people throughout our community, and that's something that we are responsible for rather than a lot of the other things. So maybe footpaths should be a focus for us to help the disabled.
We can set in this motion or one further come. Yeah.
Through the chair, I'm glad that you've identified that, Councillor Ross, hence why in the budget consideration, we've actually suggested that that is something we have to focus on moving forward. Having spoken with my colleagues in infrastructure and environment, the actual management, the 4-year, help me with my wording, infrastructure asset management plan. The infrastructure asset management plan actually does have a renewal of about 150,000, with a slight increase over the next 4 years for renewal of footpaths. with a minor proportion to new footpaths. Having spoken though to Govinda Megan, that's unlikely to be able to support a whole lot of new footpaths that have been identified. So that is something that we should be focusing on, hopefully moving forward in the next financial year and beyond for footpaths alone.
Come on, Lorinda, you're itching to say something, aren't you?
Probably the main one. And look, it was to be able to go out into consultation and actually talk to people and get that feedback. And the main footpath thing, it's all over the region, but straight across the road as you cross across the top of Cog Hill there, it's very difficult for people to try and get to the Mitre 10. And so that's one of the challenges, because they then have to take their mobility scooter out onto the road, or if they do try and navigate, they've got to get past trees and gouges in the footpath. So that was one of one of the main things. So I thought it was very useful to go out to consultation.
Good. Thanks, Lorinda. Okay, there's Councillor Collins, you got a
Oh,
question?
just another thing, there's nice new footpaths in Kapunda, but I think we're going to maintain them. We had a I had an accident the other day on Oldham Street where someone had fallen over because the NBN they put it through, so they drilled a hole underneath the footpath, but then they don't pack it back in, so then the footpath subsided, and then a woman fell over and cracked her head and ended up in hospital for which is good. But anyway, we're onto it. But it's just, I think people who actually do something to the footpath, I think we're going to have to make sure they reinstate it the way it was.
Thanks, Councillor Collins. There's a recommendation on page 3 of the supplementary agenda. Would someone like to move that recommendation? Councillor Nett, seconded. Councillor Dean, all in favour? Carried. Thank you. We now go to 13.8 on the supplementary agenda. 23-24, your say, your future community ward project update, Freeling Community Gardens and the Freeling Wetlands. It's good to see this looks like happening. I think this just has to cancel the previous positioning of the gardens and move it to the wetlands area, so it's all tidied up and cleaned up. I think it's a pretty straightforward thing, but it's great to see it's happening. So, any questions? There's a recommend. Councillor Peters seconded it. You can change if you want to, Peter. All in favour? Carried. Thank you. Thanks, Lorinda, for doing those and getting them all sorted out. It's been a contentious issue, that one, hasn't it, down there? Good to see it. Good to see it finished. When do we get the first vegetables? Yeah. 13.9, the Light Regional Council Annual Report. This is the draft of the annual report, which is buried in our attachments. Very well done, Caitlin. Thank you for all your work in that fabulous production. It should be a book award, I think. And with the other two motions we've already passed, they will flow into this draft report, and this will finalise the council annual report for this year once this is passed. That's correct, isn't it?
Plus the financials.
Plus the audited financials. Yeah, thank you. Are there any questions to this? I've got one. Why is my photo not in there? I thought you'd noticed. Yeah, that's right. Excuse me. There's a recommendation on page 13. Would someone like to move that recommendation? Councillor Simon moved it, seconded. Councillor Collin. All in favour? Thank you. Thanks, Caitlin, for that. It's great piece of work. So we're still on supplementary agenda. 13.10. The delegations update. I think this is just a update of current delegations and changing the change of CEO and so forth. Corey, do you want to comment about this, or is any questions from the floor? Right, well, there's a recommendation on page 15. Would someone like to move that recommendation? Councillor Fabio. Councillor Simon. Thank you. All in favour? That's carried. We go back to our ordinary agenda, I think. All right. Am I right? Where am I? Yes, I've got to find them in the wrong agenda here. All right. These belly supplementary agendas, I tell you. Where's that? Well, let's do it here. There's a motion. There's a questions on notice. Nil. Questions without notice. No questions without notice. Motions on notice. 16.1, the Ross Creek Bridge. Councillor Fabio, the Dutton Ward. Councillor Fabio, would you like to comment on this?
Only briefly, I have spoken about this at length late last year, calling for a report into the costs associated with Ross Creek Bridge sealing and also the adjoining roads, which is Trevina, Hawkers Creek Road, and the continuation of the seal from current Kidman Road up to and including over the bridge. Obviously, the rationale behind it is to preserve quite a historic and unique bridge, to ensure that vibrations from consistent and quite severe corrugations don't lead to any structural damage on the bridge. It's also a bridge where a lot of unladen commercial vehicles use it, and with corrugations in the tight approach angles and the actual bridge itself can cause a lot of vehicles to sort of step sideways, and unfortunately have in the past contacted on numerous occasions the bridge infrastructure, which has led to significant remedial work carried out by the council at obviously at a cost, some as recent as earlier this year. So plan going forward would be to add this onto the road upgrade register with a vision to hopefully have that done. Also, the other part of that motion is to undertake a review of the Ross Creek Bridge structural capacity and implement load limits should they be necessary. I was actually contacted just a couple of days ago by some residents in that area who have been living in that vicinity for a number of years, and they a few of them actually mentioned to me that when they moved to the town quite a number of years ago, preceding my appearance to the town 10 years ago, there used to be they were saying that there used to be a load limit on that bridge. They believe it was 5 ton, but no one could sort of say one way or another. But they said there was a load limit sign on the bridge, which got knocked over and never got replaced. So perhaps there is some history there. Nevertheless, given our current technology or whatever, certainly I would push to have an assessment made of that bridge and see whether a load limit reduction or a load limit on that bridge would be warranted. That's pretty much the motion in a nutshell.
Okay. Would someone like to second that motion? Councillor Allison. Just a question from me to go into, is that structural capacity, is that a difficult thing to be assessed? Is that, do you have to get reports in for that or what's?
Through the chair, every 4 to 5 years, we do a bridge audit. So we are due for a bridge audit this year. So we'll get the engineers to have a better look at Ross Creek Bridge. And if the bridge is showing any distress, definitely we'll get a load limit testing done. And if that warrants a 5 ton, 10 ton, whatever, we'll put that back on. But I know that load testing is an expensive exercise, but I'll communicate that to the chamber through Megan.
Thank you. Councillor Annette?
Yes, I remember when we put a load limit on that bridge. And I remember when it disappeared, I think it ended up down the creek or somewhere, I don't know. But when we put that load limit on, it was being adhered to. And then all of a sudden the sign was gone and we had all the through traffic coming through from over the other side. And I'm just wondering, have we, rather than do another assessment, haven't we got well, why it was being done in the first place? Haven't we got that on record?
We'll definitely have a look through our historical records to see whether there was a testing done and a limit put on it. And
Yes.
if that's the case, then it's easy for us to do.
Yes, there was definitely a test done on it because the sides, the things on the sides were falling apart. And so if you could look for that, that would be good.
Sure, will do.
Thank you.
Councillor Collins?
Yeah, I agree with Lynette. I think I do remember the load limit being on it, but also big trucks these days, it's too short, so you can't actually get access to it.
Yeah.
So it should be blocked for large trucks anyway, because you can't, if you've got a truck and trailer, it's actually too awkward to get onto. So I just think you put, a load limit on it, don't have to do the testing. I think it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
To your point, councillor Collin, and if I may through the chair, it doesn't stop the out of towners, I'd say, the ones that are not familiar with the bridge. It doesn't stop them from trying. And on numerous occasions, you can see rubber marks up the guardrails and all sorts of things. So, yeah.
Yes, certainly a bridge not designed for current traffic, is it? So, yeah. Thank you. If there's no further comments on the motion, I'll put the motion. All in favour? Carried. Thank you. We now move to confidential items. Oh, motions without notice. Did I miss that? Oh, yes, I did. Motions. Any motions without notice? You see, I knew there weren't any, Caitlin. You kept me worried for nothing. All right, we'll now move to confidential items. Thank you. Thanks. Do I do that now? Are you ready for me to do that? Okay, there's a motion there to move into confidence. Would someone like to move that way? Councillor Simon, seconded. Councillor Fabio, all in favour? Thank you.